Thank you very much for attending this session, actually. First, I wanted to say, and also for sharing your experience, because it is always in a crowdfunding experience is a strong experience. I have heard it also from others. So first we wanted to ask you, how did you find out about the crowdfunder?
Should I go, Gail?
Go for it, Flo.
Okay, I found out about it through friends who were working with Hertfordshire County Council. So I had no idea, and I was desperately, flat out trying to fundraise through, selling cakes and all the usuals. And they said, "Why don't you apply for this?" And so I did. And that was that, word of mouth. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that I found out through a bit of research, that's all, just looking around and looking for different pots of money. And a crowdfunder seemed to fit with our particular needs, because we not only wanted to raise money, but we wanted to galvanise people in our community and engage them in the process. And the crowdfunder was a very good way to do that.
Yes. Thank you, Gail. I think that's a very important aspect for it. And your project looks like perfect for it, because you were working on the community center and you wanted to attract people towards it and also kind of raise money as well. So we would like to ask you kind of what was the project about and what is the sustainable aspect of it?
So mine is a community garden in the village. Sarah is a fairly wealthy area, but actually it's, well, on the surface it's very wealthy, but it's actually very mixed. We've got a lot of mix of housing, and so we wanted to grow food that was not chemically treated, that had not travelled a long way, and that was not heavily packaged. So it's a primarily environmental project, but it very much had people in mind as well. So the idea was that it brought people in from the local area, and then we partner with a local charity in Chorleywood called Mission Employable, which is training 10 interns a year who've got learning difficulties. So they're between 19 and 25. They've got learning difficulties to the point that they've struggled to find any work. And the idea is that they have a year of learning skills for work. And part of that is coming to the garden and learning horticultural skills with us.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. That seems it kind of catches so many different areas of the fund as well. So it's about the volunteering, but it's also about the training and also about improving the environment. Gail, can you tell us what is this?
Well, we were campaigning since 2018 when we put a petition into the council for 1,000 people signed it to get a community centre in Stockwell ward, which was the most deprived ward in St Albans. And again, like Flo says, a mix of housing, but one of the first big council estates in St Albans was built there in the 50s. What do you want to know about the project? So we wanted to build a community centre, and we were working with some other people as well who wanted to put in as well a cycling aspect to it in the grounds of the area. And the sustainable, we've done a lot of consultation in the area. We've gone to Sainsbury's and stood on the streets talking to people about what they'd like to see and so on. So we'd already talked to quite a few people, and we wanted it to be eco-friendly from the beginning. We were involved in the design, the group, the campaign group I was involved with was 6 women, and we wanted to be involved in the design process. We were on Zooms with the architects and so on, and we wanted to make it eco-friendly and insisted on and got solar panels, a heat pump, green roof, and it was with an area outside where we could also build. We have a community garden locally, and so it was those volunteers wanted to get involved and build some fruit trees in the garden. And we also had the cycling hub, of course, and anything that would focus on cycling, of course, is sustainable, because it was to encourage not just the local people, but everybody from across St Albans to get more involved in cycling with a pump track, which I have no idea what it was, but it's a track that goes up and down, and kids and men aged 40 and the occasional older woman too are on this track racing round and getting strong and learning cycling skills. And the Cycle Hub runs training and for women and ethnic groups, Muslim women and kids, and so on, that kind of thing.
Yes, thank you. I just want to ask as well about the application process. How did you find that?
I found it very simple, but I was not asking for a huge amount, so maybe that is what made it simple. I'm not technologically the best. I'm better with, courgettes than I am with computers, but it was reasonably simple. I didn't manage to get a video on the website, which I know they wanted, and I fell down there. I just couldn't do it. But the actual raising money part of it, I found quite manageable. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Thank you. Gail, you had a big target.
Yeah, well, we were asked by the council to raise, the council paid most of this, and Big Lottery through Sports England paid a very large amount as well. And prices were going up. This was just COVID stuff. Prices were shooting up for building post-Brexit and so on. And whether or not that was the reason, we were asked by the council to raise an additional 80 grand. So we set the crowdfunder up to raise part of that. We did a target of 20 grand originally, and then we eventually ended up with 30. But the application process, of course, is twofold, because the biggest part is setting up the crowdfunder.
Yes.
Applying for the money after that was absolutely straightforward, because it pops up on your screen. Would you like to apply for the Sustainable Hertfordshire money? We think it suits your project. And so we applied. To be honest, it was a year ago. I can't remember exactly the detail, but I remember it wasn't complicated. And the bit about how much you're raising, whether you're raising 500 or 5,000, to be honest, an application form is very similar, isn't it? It's just, it's the budget, and it's accounting for what you're doing, and talking about the environmental friendly bits of it. So that wasn't hard. The crowdfunder, I think, is harder.
Yes, crowdfunding from the crowd, you mean?
Yeah, I think setting up the crowdfunder is, I think you have to prepare yourself to do it. If you want to make a real success of it. Do you want me to say a little bit more about that?
You know what, I will talk about this later in my tips, because
that's fine.
I am aware of it, that setting up is everything. Actually, it's kind of like 70% of the job almost, I would say. If you have a clear idea, a clear project, then it's easier or on the way. But if you're not clear at the setting up stage.
Yes, that's right. And I think I'll just throw in here, I think a few skills were helpful for us. Flo mentions the film. Well, we did have someone who actually helped us with the film, so that was enormously helpful. Having a broad social media already in existence was really important to make the crowdfunder work. Because there's not any other way you're going to do it, except some press releases, relationships with the press, or with any other communication at other festivals or events. It was also very important. But social media was, and lots of lovely photos of people smiling always.
It's true. It's true. Thank you. Now over to you, Tanya.
Thank you, Anna. So, Flo and Gail, I'm kind of really interested to know, as you both completed your projects, what have you seen as been the major benefits to your community coming out of these two projects? Flo.
Well, mine's quite small, like the whole thing, but we have a volunteer list of about 40 people who've become involved. That includes the people from Mission Employable. I think the interns from Mission Employable are the ones who have gained the most. You know, they have gained an awful lot. These are people who previously, after education, were basically sitting at home watching telly all day. And that's a tragedy. So 2 days a week of coming to us has made a huge, huge difference. But in the village as well, you know, the produce is being sold through the village shop. People seem to be really enjoying it. I have a clear conscience that we've achieved environmental objectives for sure. My degree, I have a degree in environmental science, so I'm quite used to doing, you know, I can't think of the word now, like an environmental audit where you see before and after and this sort of thing. So I'm satisfied that it has made a genuine difference. It's made a difference with water. So we've taken 10,000 litres of water, of rainwater that's now not being used from the mains. It's being used from rainwater instead. And it's good for the people who are involved. It's good for their health as well, you know, getting out and about, especially the older retired people. But it's always hard to quantify, isn't it? A little bit nebulous.
No, but I think I understand what you're saying, but I think it's benefits. It's not so much, as you say, quantifiable. It's the quality, and it's seeing that and it's that awareness. Simply, as you said, the you know, the saving the water, and then it starts that conversation going. You know, why do you have to save that water? And then people that can actually see results on hand. So. No, it's not so much that, I agree, it's not so much the quantifiable, it's about the quality. And so it's people kind of recognizing that. So, and as you said, by having people coming and, you know, selling your produce in the shop, there we are, that's extends that impact.
Absolutely.
So that's really wonderful. That's exactly kind of like what we're looking to. So that's amazing. For such a small, I mean, as you say, excuse me, you said it's a small project, but actually just shows that a small project can kind of like spread. So that's marvelous. Well done, congratulations. Gail, I'm interested in seeing yours.
It's small projects pack a punch, and that's what yours has done. It really has. This is a different kind of project, isn't it? You know, they're two very, very different ends of the spectrum. Well, we don't run the centre. The centre opened in June 2022. We decided as a group we did not want to get involved in running it, so we pushed the council for them to take that business on. Very pleased we did on some accounts, not on all. So I don't have figures. That's why I'm saying that. I don't have usage figures, but it's being used very, very well. The Cycle Hub is prolific in its use. Over the summer last year, over 50 kids a day were using it, and that's a small number, that's a minimum. We're using the cycle pump track and the area outside. And they have training courses for beginners maintenance, beginners cyclists, women cyclists, Muslim cyclists. So it's really, they're doing really well, and they're selling as well. They're a CIC, a not-for-profit company. So in the community centre itself, it's been fantastic. There's 3 major community groups are developing activities there. Stockwell Residents Association, of which I am part, our cash group, our Cotton Mill and Stockwell Hub group, has moved into the Residents Association now. So we're part of that. And those active women are doing a lot of things within the Residents Association. And we're running Stockwell Eco Stars. We run an activity once a month. We run a repair fair and an energy event for local people. We run a Monday afternoon warm hub, a coffee afternoon, tea and cakes and food we give out. We get between 30 and 50 mums and dads with kids coming to that. I'm spending a couple of hours there, free food. We got a bit of extra funding to do that because we have to pay for the rent of the hall. Which we don't like doing, of course, because we feel it's ours, but we still have to pay for it. So we need money for that. A group called Leanna's Wish, that is a real lovely mixed community group with a lot of African Caribbean people in it, as well as people from across the diverse groups. They run a fantastic coffee morning on Tuesdays, £2 for a bacon roll, and not my thing. I don't eat meat. Not eco enough for me, but bacon roll and cake and coffee and tea, and they get about 50 people coming down. They run a community night on Friday nights, and they have a Friday afternoon film club for young people. So Albans Community Pantry, they are getting rescued food from local supermarkets. They now have a base somewhere else for their warehouse. There's no storage in the community centre. I wonder why that is. We asked for storage right from the beginning. But anyway, there's no storage, but what they do is they run a lunchtime session, give out all the free supermarket food and provide a meal for people, and that again attracts 50 plus people on their Mondays. We run Velnham Cycling Club meet there on a regular basis. Wonderfully, Hearts Headway are now meeting there, and I have a brain injury, and I used to use Hearts Headway, and I was so pleased to see that Hearts Headway set up and now have got somewhere to meet there. Just brilliant. And they also attend one of the coffee mornings. So Albans District Food Bank meet there now regularly. They were meeting in an old church before, and this is a much better place for them to meet, with citizens advice, providing advice as they go. We're going to be running out. We ran Larks in the Parks, which is a sort of Albans community event in the fields. The council funded it last year. We kept some money back, and we're going to run it again in the grounds this year, and it's called the Cottermill Gathering. So, you know, we're going to have circus events and food and lots of stuff going on. So we're going to be doing that in the grounds, and to have a building where people can prepare food and go in if they're feeling too hot or too tired or whatever is just brilliant. And there's dance, Pilates, table tennis classes, stuff like that is happening there.